You finished eating 20 minutes ago. You are full. You know you are full. And yet you are standing in front of the pantry, staring at a bag of chips like it owes you money. That is not weakness. That is not a lack of willpower. That is 40,000 years of programming doing exactly what it was built to do. Your body still thinks it's in a famine. It has thought that for your entire life. It will keep thinking that long after the last famine your ancestors faced has been forgotten by everyone but your own cells. Here is the strange part. You have never missed a meal you couldn't easily replace. Your grocery store has never once run out of food. And still, somewhere beneath your conscious mind, an ancient alarm system is quietly convinced that scarcity is one bad harvest away. Why would your body lie to you like that? It isn't lying. It's remembering. For roughly 2.5 million years, the genus Homo lived in a world where food was never guaranteed. A good hunt might feed a group for days. A bad season might starve it for weeks. There was no refrigerator. There was no supply chain. There was only the next meal, and no certainty about when it would arrive. In a world like that, a body that burned calories efficiently and stored the rest as fat wasn't a flaw. It was a survival advantage. The individuals who could pack away extra energy when food was plentiful were the ones who survived when it wasn't. Their descendants inherited that same instinct. You are one of those descendants. In 1962, a geneticist named James Neal proposed an idea that would eventually be called the thrifty gene hypothesis. His theory was simple. Populations that experienced repeated cycles of feast and famine evolved a genetic tendency to store fat aggressively whenever food was available. It was a brilliant adaptation for a world of scarcity. It is a serious liability in a world of convenience stores open 24 hours a day. Your ancestors' bodies were built to expect hunger. Yours inherited the same blueprint. The problem is the world changed far faster than your biology could. Think about that mismatch for a second. 2.5 million years of feast or famine conditioning. Maybe 70 years of near constant food abundance in the developed world. Your genes have had no time to catch up. They are still running software written for the Ice Age, except now it's running on hardware surrounded by drive-thrus. There's a darker chapter to this story too, one that proves just how deeply your body clings to the memory of scarcity. During World War II, a physiologist named Ansel Keys ran what became known as the Minnesota Starvation Experiment. He and his team studied conscientious objectors who volunteered to be semi-starved for 6 months, all in the name of understanding how to help famine survivors recover after the war. What happened to those men wasn't just physical, it was psychological. They became obsessed with food. They dreamed about it. They hoarded cookbooks. They ate slower, savored longer, and talked about meals for hours. Some even collected recipes they had no ability to cook, just to feel closer to food they couldn't have. And here's the part that should sound familiar. When the men were finally allowed to eat freely again, many of them overate dramatically, far beyond what their bodies needed. Some gained back more weight than they'd lost. Their bodies weren't rebelling. They were compensating. They were terrified of another famine, and they had every biological reason to be. Because as far as their bodies were concerned, one had just happened. Does dieting sound familiar yet? Every time you drastically cut calories, your body doesn't know the difference between a diet and a famine. It reacts the same way it reacted for millions of years. It slows your metabolism. It ramps up hunger signals. It makes food more rewarding, more vivid, more impossible to ignore. This isn't your imagination working against you. It's an ancient survival circuit, doing its job perfectly, just in the wrong century. Consider fat storage itself. Your body doesn't distribute it randomly. Researchers studying human fat deposition, including work built on evolutionary biologist Daniel Lieberman's writing on human energy expenditure, point out that humans carry a strikingly high body fat percentage compared to other primates, even at a healthy weight. A chimpanzee at peak health carries a fraction of the body fat a healthy human does. That's not an accident. That extra fat was insurance. It was a buffer against the next lean season, a season your body still expects, even if it hasn't come in generations. And it isn't just fat. Think about your taste for sugar and salt and fat-rich foods. In a world of scarcity, calorie-dense food was rare and valuable. A ripe fruit, a bit of animal fat, anything salty enough to signal minerals your body needed. Craving those things wasn't indulgence. It was efficient foraging.